Mankato, of which I've been a member for about 6 years, and the newly formed Indivisible of St, of which I've been a member for about a month minus 1 day. I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to be here. It is absolutely critical for our democracy to stand up, stand together, and use our voices. As most of you know, Representative Finstad is not here this afternoon. We invited him to attend this town hall, and we intentionally scheduled it when he is on the congressional recess. However, he did not even give us the dignity of a response to our invitation. The message is clear. He prefers not to engage with his constituents or to explain his support for the controversial actions being taken by President Trump's administration and its appointees, including, of course, billionaire Elon Musk. Unlike Representative Finstad, we decided to do our job as free Americans and raise our voices and ask our questions ourselves. Thank you all for coming to this event, especially on the short notice. We do have a joint statement for Representative Finstad from Indivisible of St. Peter, Grand Mankato, and Indivisible of New Ulm. To Representative Finstad, we have some words for you. You cannot avoid your constituents indefinitely. We will continue to ask questions and continue to demand answers from now until the next election day and beyond. Ignoring us will not make us go away. You should know that today's attendees do represent diverse political views, not just Democrats, whom you so frequently vilify, but also independents, and yes, quite likely, even some people who voted for you and for Donald Trump. They are feeling betrayed, having thought that Trump would make their lives better. They thought that Trump would help them to afford health care, housing, education, and even to lower the price of eggs. They didn't vote for this. None of us voted for this. We did not vote for fascism, Project 2025, tax breaks for billionaires, abandoning our global allies, DOGE, and what about those grocery prices after all? And for this, we all hold you responsible. You are an elected member of Congress. We hold you culpable for supporting the executive orders, not legislation, that have caused chaos, cruelty, and hardship. You have the power to stand up for your constituents and do what's right for us and for the future of our country. Instead, we see you as an enthusiastic member of the DOGE caucus. We see you standing silently by. Does your silence equal complicity, or does it equal cowardice? Tell us, we beg you. Meet with us and tell us. Has your proximity to wealth and influence and pleasing the billionaire class changed your perspective on representing everyday Americans, everyday Minnesotans, your constituents? Have you abandoned the values that once might have guided you? We question your support for policies that take from those with the least and give to those with the most. People in your district are suffering, and it's on you. The stakes extend beyond individual hardships. Our democratic institutions are defied. They are very much under threat when court orders are defied, oversight agencies are dismantled, media independence is compromised, dedicated civil servants are demonized and fired, judges receive threats of impeachments, law enforcement agencies and the military become politicized, private institutions of higher education are threatened, and when we realign our international relationships in ways that undermine long-standing alliances. However, we still have our democratic rights, and we intend to exercise them fully. You have heard from many of us by phone, email, and in-person meetings with your staffers. With town halls like this one, we will make our voices heard. Representative Finstad, you may prefer not to see or hear us, but we see you. Sort of. We are watching you, and you will be hearing from more and more of us. We insist on being recognized. Unlike you, we will not be silent. We will continue to organize, to speak out, and to demand that you demonstrate the courage to stand up for your constituents and for our country. Don't think that you can continue to ignore us with an impunity. Today, your constituents will raise their concerns. We are presenting you with the questions to which we want answers. We request a response by April 15th, Tax Day. This is the day by which we must report to the government. It seems reasonable that we ask for a report from you by that date as well. If we don't get one, we will have to get creative. Perhaps a sit-in at your Minnesota offices. Perhaps billboards, digital advertising. And of course, if we need to arrange a trip to Washington, D.C. so that we can find you, we may be able to do that too. We do expect a response to our questions, and we will not take no for an answer. It is too important. Sincerely, Indivisible of St. Peter Greater Mankato, and is Indivisible of Newell. Now let me take a moment to explain how this town hall will work and the ground rules. We received many questions and sorted them into categories. In each category, Linda and I will read some questions. Obviously, since Mr. Finstad is not in attendance, there will be no answers. But it is still very important that our questions be heard. After the question section, which will last about half an hour, we will move to breakout groups where we will explore our own individual experiences with the governmental changes and generate additional questions. We will regather as a group and share these insights as well as sharing personal stories. Following this, Marian Broidel will lead us in an exercise on engaging with our fellow Americans, whether they obviously agree with us or not. Finally, we will reconvene as a group for some next steps forward. We hope that all of you will find the town hall to be engaging, informative, and supportive to you. We do feel that our nation is in the midst of a serious democratic and political crisis. The gravity of our current situation requires a commensurately serious response. We would ask that the town hall event be similarly serious and respectful. The goal of the town hall is serious questions directed at Representative Finstad. While laughter does provide a sense of stress relief, this is not a time for games. This is not a time for mocking people with opposing viewpoints. The time for games is over. Of course, we are fully supportive of freedom of speech and do not seek to censor attendee personal statements in the forms of signs, attire, or assembly. We would ask that any attendee who is disrupting the gathering in terms of heckling, chanting, repeated interruptions, etc., be asked to leave by our peacekeepers. We ask that attendees do not engage with anyone with whom they disagree. This is not the place to argue with one another. This is the place to ask questions of Representative Finstad. Any suggestion of violence will not be tolerated. Please be respectful. In short, don't be a jerk. With that, we'll go ahead and move on to the